Welcome everyone to a casted game for Age of Empires 4, and today spawning on the west side of the map playing in red. We've got beastyqt playing as the Delhi Sultanate. And battling out against him today in the southeast in blue, we've got David Kim, also known as puppypaw, playing as the Byzantines. Welcome everyone to Lipany. Hope you guys are having a great morning, good afternoon, or good evening, as always, depending when you're watching the game, and it's going to be a cracking one. Got the Delhi versus the Byzantines, two of the very best players in Age of Empires 4 right now. Beasty versus puppypaw. So the Delhi versus the Byzantines. Lots of changes have happened, especially with the Delhi Sultanate. In terms of their playstyle, things have become a bit unusual. They've certainly made a bit of a change, which makes them a bit more dynamic in the castle age. The tech up timings for the research is increased, or sped up, I should say, really. So they get them in a lot bit quicker. And that means when you do get to the next stage, there is a bit more of a power spike. There used to be a time when the Delhi Sultanate research does take quite a bit of time. And so it means an extended feud age was typically something they really played towards. But now with the Dome of the Faith getting cheaper scholars, and also, well, the research times taking a lot less, it's making the fast castle playstyle for the Delhi a little bit more prominent. And we've seen Beasty do it time and time again, actually. I'll say it a couple of times. He's, of course, been busy playing Age of Mythology, but is back to Age of Empires 4 right now. So expect a lot more casted games coming out on the channel, and some high-level gameplay for sure being showcased. And puppypaw with the Byzantines, we know about the Byzantines. They're incredibly strong, have the access to the olive oil, especially with the Grand Winery boosting up the amount of olive oil brought in from the berries. And a map like Lipany, where there's plenty of berries to be gathered, this could be a really strong landmark to be using. I've got to say, the Imperial Hippodrome has kind of fallen out of fashion in a big way. We don't see it all that often. Kind of curious to see if the developers will look to buff that a little bit, but we have to see as time progresses. Maybe we'll see some changes coming in soon. We've got the cistern, of course, operational, a great economic kind of, well, the focus point really for the Byzantines. Increasing the villager gather rate by 10% at the moment, but will increase as puppypaw adds in further cisterns and connects them up with the aqueducts. So there is the Dome of Faith. And Beastie will have faith in that landmark, no doubt about it. Probably going to get plenty of scholars, and also means that, well, when they do get to the castle age, they typically have quite a few scholars under the belt. Can also look to pick up those relics. I wonder whether we'll see like a true fast castle, where they'll probably look to get a couple of units nice and early to take advantage of the efficient production. A nice research for the Delhi that increases the production speed of their buildings in terms of units, the military buildings making units when the scholar is garrisoned inside of them. I'm kind of curious to see how the Byzantines play out, because we have seen them a lot of times make a couple of units from the mercenaries and then go to the castle age themselves. So I wonder if we'll see a bit more of a castle age focus in this particular matchup. Either way, I'd like to say a very big thank you for everyone who's been supporting the channel, whether it be on Twitch or YouTube. Guys, absolute legends. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And long may the support continue. You guys have been absolutely fantastic. And I do have a subscriber goal, so if you haven't already and you've maybe watched a couple of casts already, 2 to 3 of them maybe, and you've enjoyed them, you want to keep up to date with the next ones, I'm probably going to be looking to upload a cast every other day. So make sure you are subscribed. More importantly, hit the notification bell. That's probably the most important thing you can do, because then you actually get a notification, a ping, when I do upload, which will be roughly every 2 days, so I won't make it sort of overbearing. But I'll be only showcasing the very best games anyway, so you know that when I do upload something, it's going to be something crazy going on. I'm kind of curious to see what production building beast will drop down first. Will it be a stable? We typically see the Delhi opt for that. They do like to get those Ghazi raiders out nice and early. And it's going to be a stable opening here for the Byzantines. Kind of not expecting to see that. We have seen them a lot of the times go for the longbows as the mercenaries, and adding in Limitani as the accompanying unit. But it's actually going to be the horsemen on the field coming out soon. Yeah, there is that stable now for Beastie. Gonna go with 2 villagers to get that up online and running. Actually managed to snag a sheep there, would you believe? Don't know what happened there. Did Beastie just not get it with his scout? His scout is across the other side of the map. Either way, water level 2 now, so it does mean the production speed are going to be increasing a little bit with conscriptio, 40% buffering there, and also an extra 4% on the villager gather rate, now on extra 14% overall. The first horseman is going to be going forward, accompanied by this scout, possibly going to target the gold, which is actually a bit more of an issue now for the Delhi, because they are actually thinking about Castle Age at some point, so that's going to be a position that maybe puppypaw will look to try and challenge if he does get plenty of units. Kind of curious to see how much he commits to the feudal age. I gotta say, the Castle Age for the Delhi pretty dangerous, because we have seen it in the past where they go for the compound of the defender, cheaper keeps with that, and then they can actually get multiple keeps that act as town centers effectively with the village fortresses. And the big thing about that is that it doesn't take that much time anymore to get it all researched. So something that where the Delhi can actually play for the mid to late game. Maybe look to get some of those elephants that have now got a bit of a trample damage on them. There's a good number of horsemen though for the Byzantines, so Delhi will have to back away with these Ghazi raiders, just not enough numbers there to take the fight. Should be able to catch up with the scout. So the mercenary contract will be, is that the west? Yeah, it is the western one, so kind of expecting to see that. Longbowmen, probably a very strong unit for the Byzantines really overall, and we do often see it. He's already got the stable for the horsemen as the cavalry units to go alongside them anyway, so it's going to be horsemen, longbows for the Delhi, at least for the Byzantines rather, for now. The question is how the Delhi counter that. Maybe Ghazi and archers, probably going to match relatively like for like. Obviously a couple of nuances to that fight, bringing back the weakened Ghazi raiders, and the perfect thing for the Delhi is they can actually look to heal these up. So it's dishing out all sorts of damage, and yeah, Beastie microing this incredibly nicely, and I wouldn't be surprised to see the scholars come out and heal. That's exactly what it's going to do. Get the cavalry back onto healing. And it's a bit of a tricky situation now for the Byzantines, right? Because if Beastie continues to do this with his cavalry, he will just grab a massive edge. But I tell you what, the Byzantines do have an option to go to the Castle Age with the cistern of the first hill. That could be their equivalent way of healing up their units. Kind of not expecting it, but you never know. You never really know. We're heading into almost the 8-minute of the game, and typically now you do see the Delhi look to get the sacred sites, and he's moving out now with 5 scholars and a good few Ghazi raiders. And he's going to start capping that central sacred site, at least for now. The Byzantines walling up the north, looking to get hold and access to the berry bushes, 2 of them, and the 2 deer camps as well. So really nice usage of the palisades, very minimal investment for a lot of protection on some really key portions of the map. Of course, another gold vein as well. Question is, though, will the Delhi look to just bypass that, go through the middle and go around, target to do some damage on the villages around the back? Byzantines are going for border settle. Oh, that's actually the Delhi rather. All-seeing eye, increasing the sight radius of the scholars. I wonder if border settlements will be coming in for the Byzantines just to get the extra vision. He could just wall up, to be fair. He's already started that process. And yeah, the Ghazi raiders are going to trickle on through. And you know what? The big problem here is that that gold vein is very exposed, despite being kind of backwards, really, at the back of the base. It's still very unprotected, and he's just sneaking around, as you can see, with the Ghazi raiders, and he's also getting the other 2 sacred sites, which the horsemen are now preoccupied trying to deny, but Byzantines are under a bit of pressure here with these Ghazi raiders rocking on in. And he should get a good surround. There's so much choke point here that I'm not sure many of these villages actually survive if they can get out. He's body blocking. He's going to lose absolutely all of them. This is absolute disaster for puppypaw. And whilst they had the palisade walls, they weren't too effective. He does have his units there now, but, you know, these Ghazi raiders have already put their name to the test, and they've definitely gotten value. They are a little bit trapped now, but he could make a movement on the right side. Looks like he doesn't know about the walls on the west side, so he's going to be heading that direction, but he's going to be running to the walls. But maybe he can find a way out there without losing too much more. We'll have to see 2 sacred sites in play for the Delhi. That'll certainly help them get to that Castle Age, and he's got plenty of food in the bank as well. Going to be building that up and get into the Castle Age in no time. I can feel like that's what he's probably going to do here, because he is banking up a bit of gold, and there's no reason not to. He's got a good number of units on the field, keeping the Byzantines back at home, and the tech up for the Castle Age is actually very strong now for the Delhi. There's, you know, no reason not to do that, as long as he can feel confident that the Byzantines won't overrun him, which feels like it's quite likely the case. Having done some good eco damage and got a good few Ghazi ready, he does have to be a bit cautious about the limit tonight. Good blocking in, and that's actually a nice small wall there to try and keep him contained and trap him in. But of course the Ghazi raiders got good movement speed, does kind of go back towards the limit tonight for a second. Might have been bad pathing issues around the berries. He's going to try and escape with as many as he possibly can. Longbow's getting a bit of damage, but no blacksmith upgrades means they kind of tickle the Ghazi raiders for now. Bear in mind the Ghazi raiders do have iron undermesh, which is the the upgrade that gives them a +1 ranged armor. And there is that castle age timing. Look at that. Beastie with the Delhi going to the castle age significantly faster than the Byzantines. The Byzantines are struggling on that food count. Now he's going to be trapped a little bit. Might get a couple of Ghazi Raiders. It's going to be a bit devastating for these Ghazi Raiders. We'll lose a lot of them. But Beastie has managed to extract a lot of value. Not least by killing those villagers, but also forcing the Byzantines to stay at home and chase this. Allows them to get to the castle age. You know, ideally, of course, you would not have wanted to have lost those Ghazi Raiders, but sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some. Plenty of barracks on the field. So possibly going to be seeing some man-at-arms. We do see stable, so wouldn't be surprised to see a couple of lancers out too. Either way, Beastie with a healthy villager lead. And that might just look to increase. I wonder if he's going to go for stone before too long to get a keep. Either way, the Byzantines going to the castle age with the Golden Horn Tower. Got 12 villagers for it as well. Wait, what? He's cancelled it. Wait, what's going on here? Is he going to reposition? He's going to go for Cistern of the First Hill. He's actually doing it. Absolutely crazy. Maybe he's going to go for a cataphract play, which is a bit of a tricky one, right? Because if you're going up against elephants, elephants should counter them pretty well. I mean, in terms of if they actually lock horns against them, of course. Cataphracts will have the mobility over them. But he's actually going for the Cistern of the First Hill. This is really not something you see very often. So let's remind ourselves. Acts as a cistern, of course, and unlocks the Pilgrim Flask ability, which is the main thing, really. On non-siege military units, it activates and increases the health regeneration by 25 per second for 6 seconds. And the flasks do refill, which is pretty nice. You can also set it to auto-use as well. So when the cavalry units or whatever units do go pretty low in health, they automatically use it. Gives them a bit of a new lease on life, if you will. We lose a couple of horsemen here, puppypaw. Beastie's looking to wall up on that northern sacred site. Couple of man-tars moving out a little bit, maybe too early. There's quite a few limited iron, quite a few longbows. Despite being a few delayed units, technically, they still will be able to do a job against this limited number of man-at-arms. Although that might not last for long if he does get a few more. Which, I mean, look at this. Is effectively 6 barracks production. 3 barracks with a scholar garrison aside with efficient production. Gives you 6 barracks worth of production, which is incredible amounts for the Delhi. This is where things become really strong for them, actually. It's got a lot of the relics as well. 3 already in play, 1 more coming on in. Courtesy of just having so many scholars from the recent buff of the Dome of the Faith. In fact, actually, have they been buffed? I don't actually know. I'm not sure if they've actually been nerfed. Anyway, something's changed with them. What I do know is that they're still a lot cheaper than you'd regularly have them. It's 65 gold versus your 130 gold. So still a really nice, good savings on that. But the big thing is the research time. It's a lot quicker. You can see the compound of the defender whizzing through with the village fortresses. And there's the keep coming up now for the Delhi. The first one of possibly many, because the village fortresses, that villager count will start to escalate, and BT is going to be in a good spot. Oh, these Ghazi Raiders, they're going to get sniped. One of them at least, possibly second. He does have the veterancy on the longbow now after all. No blacksmith upgrades just yet. It might be coming in before too long. Still pretty cool to see this, the Cistern of the First Hill. Really not something that we see very often. And I'm kind of curious to see what production buildings are coming out here for puppypaws. Double stable is going to go for... Yeah, he's going to go for cataphracts. So he's going to go for the cataphracts with the Cistern of the First Hill. And the reason why they're so nice as a synergy is that these guys have a lot of HP. 360 HP. And so if you can micro them and keep them alive, use the Cistern of the First Hill, the flasks, they can work really, really nicely for you. The only danger, though, of course, is that on a map like Lipini, there isn't often a huge advantage on having a lot of mobility. Often just 2 big armies clashed horns together in the middle of the map. And we'll see how he's been able to utilize them. Yeah, it's got all 3 sacred sites, by the way. Palisade wall, the north one and the middle one. And he can look to protect the one in the south with a couple of units, potentially. Although, Limited Eye moving away, I think I just control group them, and it'd be important to try and decap that sacred site. It's a potential win condition for the Delhi after all. It chases a handful of Ghazi Raiders, but you can see Beastie's approach here, just distracting puppypaw, making the Byzantines chase, so that he can get his keeps behind this. There's very secure villager boom with these keeps. Like, it's so hard to take them out, of course, and 5,000 HP versus your 2,500 of a regular second town center. Or we will lose the Ghazi Raiders, though, after all. But I guess at this stage they're relatively throwaway units. Ideally would not want to lose them, but he's bought some time and he has got his man-at-arms switch in play. Now puppypaw looking to decap the sacred site in the south, or even cap it for himself actually as it happens. The question is, where does puppypaw go from here? Does he look to just mass up units and push on through? Quite possibly could. He does have a great economy behind this. He's got a bit of an olive grove transition, obviously getting those mercenaries in. Only concern for him is, of course, the mid-map objectives really do favour the Delhi at the moment. 2 sacred sites and 4 relics. That gold income going to be very nice. In fact, doesn't even have to have anyone on gold, and he's still floating a bit. You see that 610 gold per minute without having a single villager mining it. Whereas the Byzantines, to be fair, are similar. I think it must have moved a couple of villagers off of... Wait, what? Is that right? Has he got 0 villagers on gold? Oh, he's just rebuilding a mining camp. He just expired, so yeah, that'll readjust itself before too long. He's now breaking through the middle, but I feel like this is all part of the game plan here for Beastie. Going to get a defensive keep around the relics and that forward gold position. That means he can continue to mine that gold if he needs to. But the biggest problem really for him is food. So he's going to get the keep in this position and get the berries. Looks like he's just going to keep spread himself across the map. He's got the farms around them too, and can be really nicely well protected. He's got mangonel too, which won't fare too well against the cataphracts, but he's got a lot of longbows he can target. Great thing about the cataphracts as well is that they can use this Q ability to trample. Goes through the units, they can try and jump on top of the siege. We've used it. We've seen it being used quite frequently, and potentially we'll see that again. But yeah, you can definitely see puppypaw looking to push the issue and get some damage involved. It does have a really sizable army, a premium army as it happens as well. Very expensive. I mean, having said that, all things considered, the overall army value for the Delhi is actually higher, believe it or not. A lot of it comes down to the siege involved. 13 cataphracts in total at the moment. Go for the sacred site in the south with a keep. That's a nice bit of protection on that. But he's stonewalling the map here, Beastie, and that's going to secure on this 8,000 gold vein tile, which is very, very nice. This one in the middle is something that puppypaw will want to secure as the game goes longer and longer. It's actually a bit tricky, right, because this is something that could be hotly contested by both players. Beastie might move out at some point and try and contest that. Puppypaw will certainly want to protect it and keep it under his control. Yet another keep, so the villager count is really escalating. Look at that, almost 80 villagers at the moment. It's got effectively 4 town centres just about to come online. 3 already in play. There's the 4th effectively, and yeah, this is going to be a bit dicey for the Byzantines. It's kind of crazy, right? It's almost like the Delhi don't have to be aggressive, which is something that we're typically seeing them having to do in the feudal age. And also, actually, they're the ones that can sit back and relax and boom up and then have a big force to push with. It looks like actually the Byzantines going to try and punish this though, and with 4 Chirosyphons, good few Limitanai, good few longbows, a dash of these Varangian guards, and a heck of a lot of cataphracts. Looks like puppypaw is looking in for a bit of a push. But I gotta say, it's gonna be hard for him to push into this, right? There's a keep, there's a choke point, there's mangonels involved, man-at-arms, tanky units. This could be problematic. He does have 4 Chirosyphons that will go for the fight and try and burn this keep down. It might go down pretty quickly, but the trouble is that every minute the game goes on, Beastie's army gets stronger. He's got a bit of a catching up to do in terms of numbers at least. Here comes the clash, but Beastie's just trying to drag him into the choke points if he can. Now bear in mind, around the mosque, the Walalo comes out, the Imam's trying to get the conversions, or the scholars I should say. The cataphracts have to get out of there. There are a couple of those Byzantine Varangian guards. I think a couple of them got converted. He's going to go for another Walalo. Cataphracts can't get on top of them though, and which scholar does it go for? I mean, it's a bit difficult to see which one's actually going to get it. Wait, puppypaw, he loses so many cataphracts. He dove in way too deep, and there's so many that have just changed their allegiance, and there it is, Lenjamin. GG gets called. Puppypaw taps out. Crazy Walalo to see the end of the game, and well, that changed everything. I mean, puppypaw had a strong army, but in the end, they converted, and it was a great play there by Beastie to keep those Imams in a tight-knitted area, and puppypaw just couldn't get to them. Either way, hope you guys enjoyed this casted game. Take care, and see you next time.